اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The rabbis were in Medina, and the Quraysh sent a delegation to find out from them, how can we tell whether this man, Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, is indeed a prophet? The rabbis had asked him 3 questions, which only a prophet can answer. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending the answers to the 3 questions. One of the questions was, ask him about the great traveler. Ask him about the great traveler who traveled to the 2 ends of the world. So with question 1, ask him about the great traveler who traveled to the 2 ends of the earth. And we are told that this traveler is called Zulkarnain, the one who possesses 2 qarn. And qarn can mean a horn, so Qarnain will be 2 horns. قُلْ سَأَتْلُو عَلَيْكُم مِّنْهُ ذِكْرًا. I am going to tell you something about him, which must be remembered. إِنَّا مَكَّنَّا لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. Behold, we established him on earth securely, with the power, with the means, with the capacity and the knowledge and the right means to achieve anything that he might set out to achieve. And so surely a superpower, not an ordinary power, a superpower. فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. And so he chose the right means now to do what he wanted to do. حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ مَغْرِبَ الشَّمْسِ. He sets out on a journey to the west. And he reaches a place where the sun is setting. And there he found it setting in a body of water that was hamiyah, dark, murky, so visibility in that water will be very shallow. Is it possible for us to identify that body of water? If we can, we'll be on the way to locating the geographical location of the area in which we're talking about. We're going to do that in a moment, inshallah. Then Zulkarnain set off on the 2nd journey now, and he's going to the rising of the sun. And so now he travels in the 3rd direction. إِذَا بَلَغَ بَيْنَ السَّدَّيْنِ. He comes to a place between a pass between 2 mountain ranges. On this side are mountains, on this side are mountains. And in between there's a pass. Can we locate geographically where we're talking about? Is it possible? A pass between 2 mountain ranges. And there he came across a people, لَا يَكَادُونَ يَفْقَهُونَ قَوْلًا. He came across a people whose language he could not understand. Because their language was unique. Their language had no connections with other language in that region. It was a language which was not connected with all the other languages in that region. It was a unique language. When they had learned to communicate with each other, then these people spoke to Zulkarnain and said to him, Ya Zulkarnain, O Zulkarnain, Inna Yajuj Et Majuj mufsiduna fil ard. Gog and Magog are committing acts of fasad in our territory. O Zulkarnain, can you help us? You have the power. Can you build a barrier to protect us from these people? He should have said, I don't need to build any barrier. I'll move in there and I'll beat them up. And they won't touch you anymore. So I don't need to build any barrier. I'll go and teach them a lesson they'll never forget. But no, he didn't say that. They said, we're prepared to pay you. He said, I don't need your money. What Allah has given to me is more valuable. He recognized that even though he had this power, his power was not enough to be able to go and teach them a lesson. So he agreed to build a barrier, recognizing that their power was so great that even he could not defeat them. What I need from you is your labor. Help me with your manpower. And I'm going to build a barrier between you. Now number 96, verse number 96. Bring me blocks of iron. And so that has to be a geographical location where there is iron ore. It has to be a geographical location where there are mountain ranges and a pass between the mountain ranges. It has to be a geographical location where on the left you have a body of water which is so dark and murky that visibility is very shallow. Okay? And it has to be an area where there are large deposits of iron ore. Bring me blocks of iron. And after he had covered the pass with blocks of iron, he said, build a furnace, blow with your bellows, and now bring me molten copper. So he poured the molten copper. And the engineers, we have an engineer here, tells me that this is to prevent rust. And after he had built the barrier and covered it, the Quran speaks, it changes from the word saddain to use another word, sadafain, in verse number 95. آتوني زبر الحديد حتى إذا ساوى بين الصدفين. Previously the word used was saddain, but now the word used is sadafain. Saddain is two barriers, two mountain ranges, but sadafain is something else. It is like the two sides of a shell. We're going to have some pictures just now. The two sides of a shell. You've been to the seashore. When you open a shell like this, it will join at the bottom, but open at the top. That's the shape of the pass between the mountains. Join at the bottom, open at the top. So when he had blocked off this space, this sadafain, now the molten copper is put on it. Gog and Magog could neither scale the barrier nor could they penetrate it, so they are now trapped behind the barrier. And so Zulkarnain now says, هَذَا رَحْمَةُ مِنْ رَبِّي. This barrier is constructed in consequence of Allah's kindness and grace. فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ رَبِّي. But when that time comes of which my word has warned, إِذَا فُتِحَتْ, they will not return to reclaim the town as their own until إِذَا فُتِحَتْ, until Gog and Magog are released. When that time comes for Gog and Magog to be released, so that Banu Israel are to be brought back to the Holy Land, جِئْنَا بِكُمْ لَفِيفًا, brought back as a motley crowd. At that time, جَعَلَهُ دَكَّا, Allah is going to bring down this barrier and it become dust. Now let's turn to the pictures and see whether we can locate. This is the Caucasus Mountains here, the white being the snow. And on the left side there is a body of water which is so dark and so murky with so much algae in it that it has been given a name. And that name has been there with it for many, many, many years. Even the time of Ibn Kathir. It's called the Black Sea. It's called the Black Sea. Why? Because it is so dark. If you go to the Mediterranean Sea and you're on a ship, you can see several meters underneath the water. But if you go to the Black Sea, you'll hardly be able to see more than 1 meter underneath the water. Ibn Kathir recognizes this to be the sea mentioned in the Quran as Haniya. On this side of the Black Sea is the Caspian Sea. And in between the Caspian and the Black Sea is this body of land. So we see that Zulkarnain is traveling in that direction to the west, and then in this direction to the east. The Caucasus Mountains are an unbroken range of mountains from that end to this end. But in between the Caucasus Mountains, there is one pass, only one, in between. It's called the Dari al-Gorge. There we are. There is the gorge, and there is one side, and there is the other side. And it's like an open shell. See, the Quran is describing this Sadafain. So we have, I believe, established for you the geographical location of Gog and Magog. The people who are located behind the barrier. Behind the barrier, on that side of the Caucasus, were the Khaza, a tribe of people who converted and became Jews. Must have been on a Sunday morning. And some of them converted from Judaism and became Christians. Must have been on a Sunday evening. So you have Khaza who are Jews, and you have Khaza who are Christians. But they did not become Jews because of religious conviction. They became Jews as a matter of political convenience. So they don't particularly care for Torah and for the laws of diet and so on. So these are people who are Jews as a nation, but not as a religion. A nation, not a religion. These are the people who today control power in the world. It is the Zionist movement, it's the Anglo-American alliance, which is now a Zionist alliance. It is Gog and Magog. They are the ones who control power in the world, and they are delivering to Israel the status of ruling state in the world.
And in Sahih Muslim, Allah said Hadith al-Qudsi about Gog and Magog, which explains why Zulkarnain agreed to build the barrier. I have created creatures of mine so powerful that none but I can destroy them. Gog and Magog, of course, are human beings, not some strange creatures with ears from here to San Fernando and tall from here to the clouds. They are human beings. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, they are Banu Adam. Banu Adam, human beings. When Gog and Magog are released into the world, there are many, if you'll allow me to use this word, there are many footprints by which we would be able to recognize them when they're released into the world. But before we go to looking for the footprints, let us go to the Prophet ﷺ in Medina. Nabi Muhammad ﷺ was asleep at the home of his wife Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha. And he woke up from his sleep, and the hadith is located in Sahih Bukhari in several different versions from several different sources, companions. So we say it is mutawatir. He woke up from his sleep. What he had seen in his sleep, also a vision like Ibrahim alayhi salam, was so terrible, that his face was red, flushed red. It has to be something terrible for the Prophet of Allah to wake up with his face all red, flushed red. What did he see? He woke up and he spoke these memorable lines. He said, وَيْلٌ لِلْعَرَبِ مِنْ شَرٍّ قَدْ اقْتَرَبَ. Woe unto the Arabs because of an evil, an evil. It can't be an ordinary evil for his face to be so flush red. It has to be a very great evil, which is now close. And then he raised his hands like this and he said, today. Today means this day or 1,000 years from now. Where has reason fled? He said, today. A hole has been made in the radam. He didn't use the word sad, he used the word radam. Surah Al-Kahf has both the words. When they asked Zulkarnain to build it, they used the word sad. When he built it, he used the word radam. And the hadith says the radam of Zulkarnain, of Yajuj and Majuj. Today a hole has been made, indicating that the great evil which is going to devastate the Arabs has not as yet occurred. It is an end time event because the words Gog and Magog are there. What is this great catastrophe that is coming on the Arabs? What is this great destruction that is coming on the Arabs, which has not as yet come? Where is Islamic scholarship today? Why are you not asking these questions? And I'm not asking the Malay ulama. I'm not asking the Indonesian ulama. I'm asking the Arab ulama. She asked, who? Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha. Anuhlika, will we be destroyed? Anuhlika, halaka, to destroy. Will we be destroyed? This is the word she asked. Will we, the Arabs, be destroyed when there are righteous people amongst us? The hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. He said, Na'am, yes. And then he went on to use words I never understood until recently, until I saw the pathetic state of Islamic scholarship today, and the even pathetic state of those who lead Muslims today. He said, إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ, when the scum prevails, then it will come. And today, the scum prevails. They have eyes and yet they cannot see. They have ears and yet they cannot hear. They have hearts and yet they do not understand. أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. They're worse than cattle. They're the scum. And when the scum prevails, then the destruction of the Arabs, not the Malay, not the Turks, the Arabs will take place. Indicating that in the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ, not only was Dajjal released, but also the Gog and Magog was released. The barrier was brought down in the lifetime of the Prophet.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The rabbis were in Medina, and the Quraysh sent a delegation to find out from them, how can we tell whether this man, Nabi Muhammad ﷺ, is indeed a prophet? The rabbis had asked him 3 questions, which only a prophet can answer. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending the answers to the 3 questions. One of the questions was, ask him about the great traveler. Ask him about the great traveler who traveled to the 2 ends of the world. So with question 1, ask him about to do what he wanted to do. حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس. He sets out on a journey to the west. And he reaches a place where the sun is setting. And there he found it setting in a body of water that was hamiyah, dark, murky, the great traveler who traveled to the 2 ends of the earth. And we are told that this traveler is called Zulqarnain, the one who possesses 2 qarns. And qarn can mean a horn, so Qarnain will be 2 horns. قُلْ سَأَتْلُو عَلَيْكُم مِّنْهُ ذِكْرًا. I am going to tell you something about him, which must be remembered. إِنَّا مَكَّنَّا لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَرًا. Behold, we established him on earth securely, with the power, with the means, with the capacity and the knowledge and the right means to achieve anything that he might set out to achieve. And so surely a superpower, not an ordinary power, a superpower. Fatba'a sababa. And so he chose the right means now